What's going on, everybody? This is Boxingwave. Please subscribe to the channel. It's been a couple of days since the Virgil Ortiz Jr. Surrey Bohachuk fight. All right, very controversial fight. I got to watch the fight twice. I watched it the morning after, just casually. I just wanted to watch it. I didn't have like a score. I was just watching and getting a feel of the fight, seeing if there's anything that I noticed from the previous evening, when I went live and we did live commentary. This morning, which is Monday, it's Monday afternoon now. I rewatched it this morning. I had the commentary on, I had the volume loud this time, and I scored the fight based on, not comparing it to my other scorecard, but just watching it, and scoring it, and even rewinding certain rounds, certain punches to see if they were landing, that kind of thing. All right, so it was a very thorough third time watching the fight. And as much as I enjoyed watching the fight, I don't want to watch it again. I think I got it. I think I've studied the fight long enough to, have a final idea of how I see the fight. All right. So look, let's talk about the fight. Let me give you my scorecard, and then I would like to respond to a lot of the comments that I read and all the opinions of, this. We're going to get a couple of these every year. It is what it is. Round one, I have it 10-8 for Bohachuk. At the end of the day, Ortiz looked sharper, better head movement, better jab, quicker hands, just looks more polished. He looks like the better fighter to me, like I expected prior to the fight. Bohachuk lands an overhand right over Virgil Ortiz's jab, and it connects. It's a clean punch. Do I think it's the hardest punch that Bohachuk landed in this fight? Absolutely not. But it caught Ortiz off guard. They ruled it a slip at first. After the fourth round, they ruled it a knockdown. Watching it live, I thought it was a clean knockdown. Okay? All right? It doesn't matter who I want to win. It doesn't matter who I think is winning the round. This is the rules. It's a 10-8 round. It wasn't a dominant round by Ortiz, but Ortiz was winning the round to me. But Bohachuk scored a knockdown. We're not going to bend the rules anytime we like a fighter. Okay, let me just make that clear. And I'm going to keep repeating that throughout this video because I've read a lot of comments and they were ridiculous. Okay, I think the judges who I disagreed with, they weren't even crazy enough to score it any other way. I know the commentary did at some point in this fight, in the second knockdown. But we're not bending the rules because we like Virgil Ortiz. That's not what we're doing. I know I have money on Ortiz. I'm rooting for him to win. But we're not going to bend the rules. That's not what we're doing here. All right? It was a clean shot. It wasn't the hardest shot, but it was a clean shot. And Ortiz went down. It is what it is. It happens. 10-8 round for Bohachuk. Round two, I gave it to Ortiz again. Better jab. Nice shots to the body. Nice counters. He's just better right now. At 10-9, Ortiz, second round. Third round, another 10-9 round, Ortiz. I feel like Bohachuk is starting to wake up a little bit. I think he's getting a rhythm going in this round. But I had to give it to Ortiz. He was doing the better work. They're both doing the same thing. They're both connecting with body shots. They're both landing jabs. But at this point, I just think Ortiz is better. 3 rounds in, Ortiz, another round for Ortiz, okay? Fourth round. This is the first round I gave to Bohachuk. At this point, I'm on par with the 3 judges, all right? The first 2 rounds, the first and the fourth for Bohachuk. The second and third for Ortiz. Bohachuk, his jab was just great in this round. It was just connecting. At this point, I feel like Ortiz was just relying a little bit too much on his power. He's fighting like he wants to get Bohachuk out of there. Bohachuk is just working the jab. And this is when there's a shift in the fight. There's a lot of battering ram head, head-to-head fighting in this round. Towards the second half of the round. But early on, I feel like Bohachuk was just more consistent in this round. And, I think Ortiz tried to steal the round. I think there's a couple rounds in this fight where Ortiz landed some of the best shots within the last 20, 30 seconds in a round. But I just think Bohachuk secured the fourth round. All right. All right. We're going into the fifth. Now, at this point, after the fourth, there's a break starting the fifth because at this point, the referee is notified that they're scoring the knockdown in the first round. Okay. We've seen this before, but normally not this many rounds after. Normally, when the round is over, they'll rule whether or not it's a knockdown after watching instant replay. And they decided going into the fifth round that they're going to score the knockdown in the first round. So I just wanted to add to that. The fifth round, I gave it to Ortiz. I think this is one of the rounds that I switched. Okay. I completely switched here in favor of Ortiz. I think this is the one round that I completely think Ortiz won after rewatching it. Again, the fight is very competitive. The rounds are close. But watching it two more times, this is the round that I'm sure Ortiz won. Even though I gave it to Bohachuk the first time I watched it live, I gave this round to Ortiz. Okay, so as far as where we're at now, first round for Bohachuk with the knockdown. 2 and 3 Ortiz. Fourth Bohachuk. Fifth Ortiz. Sixth round again. I just think Ortiz still at this point is better. I gave it to Ortiz again. All right, so the fifth and the sixth I changed. But I do think this is a swing round. This is probably the most rewinded round. Not the best round of action in this fight, but one of those rounds where I had to stop, rewind. I had to really pay close attention to this round. So this is a swing round that I gave to Ortiz, which I didn't before. But I still think that I believe one of the judges gave it to Bohachuk. This was the hardest round to score for me. All right. So it can go either way. Again, I've read all kind of scorecards throughout, the last 2 nights or 2 days or whatever. But this round, I swung it for Ortiz this time. All right. Seventh round, I gave it to Bohachuk. I just think at this point in the fight, he's connected with the jab. He's connected with the right hand. Good round, but not many notes here. I just gave it to Bohachuk. I just thought they're both doing the same thing. They're both attacking the body. Ortiz is a phenomenal body puncher. He's been consistent with that throughout the fight. Again, good jab, but Bohachuk just outworked him here, and I think this was a round where I started feeling like Ortiz was gassing a little bit. These rounds, like these middle rounds here, are tricky for Ortiz because there is a difference in just his body language. But I gave it to Bohachuk in this seventh round, okay? The eighth round. This is another 10-8 round, and this is the most controversial round. I'm going to stay on this round for a little while, okay? Because there's a lot of things that I disliked about this round. As far as it being action-packed, it was a war, yes. One of the 2 best rounds in the fight. I think the 11th round was also the other best round in this fight. It was a 10-8 round for Bohachuk. All right, Bo landed. Let me get this straight. If you watch the first minute leading to the knockdown, the entire first minute of this round, Bohachuk is probably the best he's been in this fight. The amount of jabs, body shots, right hands he landed in this round, he's clearly winning the round leading up to the knockdown. All right. He gets the knockdown. Ortiz is disputing the knockdown, right? He keeps saying it's a slip, just like he did in the first knockdown. He's the fighter. All right. I don't expect Ortiz. He's in there. I'm not expecting Ortiz to be fair. All right. Ortiz kind of moved the same way when he was fighting Velasquez, Eggy, Mean Machine. It's like he got hurt with a shot. Young guy. He doesn't want to look like he's hurt. He doesn't want to seem like he's hurt by a shot. It is what it is. But I think the referee needs to do a job, and I think the commentary needs to do a job and be fair, which they weren't. All right, some of the worst commentary I've seen in a long time, or heard in a long time. Virgil Ortiz gets up and he's fighting like a madman. He's fighting angry. Just because he's fighting angry and being more aggressive, especially at the moment he gets up, he's throwing a lot of punches. A lot of punches are not landing. Okay? A lot of these punches are getting blocked. And he's also getting countered. The commentary, there was a shot that Ortiz landed. I believe it was a right hand. The commentary was saying that Bohachuk was hurt before a punch even landed. And at this point, I realized how much influence that the commentary has over people, at this point. Like, I already knew this, but this particular commentary for this fight was ridiculous. Because throughout this fight, they're yelling, but he's not hurt. Bohachuk is hurt. He's not hurt. I understand. I don't think he has the best legs. I don't think he has the best balance. He's not hurt. He got caught with a good shot. I think he got buzzed from a shot. But when the commentary started yelling it, he wasn't buzzed yet or hurt yet. And he kept fighting and he still continued on to land some good shots throughout the round. I don't think Ortiz won the round with or without the knockdown. With or without the knockdown, Ortiz did not win this round. And I'm saying this because of the poor commentating, but I'm also saying it based on the comments that I've been reading, that people are just trying to change the rules here and saying, like, in the commentator said something like, this should be a 9-8 round. I'm like, why are so many people trying not to score these rounds as 10-8 rounds for Bohachuk? Where are they getting this from? I'm seeing tweets. I'm reading comments. What is going on here? Oh, he wasn't even hurt. Oh, when did we just start changing the rules? And for the commentator, like, when are you just going to start giving 9-8 rounds? What? This is not what we're doing. Okay? Understand that Bohachuk is a Ukrainian fighter fighting in America. I get it. No one wants him to win here. We all want to see the Bud fight. We want to see other fights with Tim Tszyu. A lot of us like Virgil Ortiz, and a lot of us got money on the line. But, please. It's not a 9-8 round or whatever that guy tried to score it. It's just, let's come on. It's get crazy. And then I don't even think that's the correct way to score it if it's a 9. If you think Ortiz won the round or dominated a round, which he didn't, it would have been scored a 9-9 round because you would have gave him the round. All right. But you would have scored a knockdown for Bohachuk. All right. So it would have been 10-9 round for Ortiz minus, the knockdown, which was a 9-9, not a 9-8 like this commentary is doing. All right. It was a great round. All right. Again, but Ortiz lost a round. All right. And I just want to add one last thing. These shots are, these shots are affecting Ortiz. Okay. Just because he's fighting hard and showing a lot of heart, it doesn't mean that he is just walking through everything. You know what I mean? He's cut at this point. He's bleeding from his mouth. I think in the 9th round he's cut. These shots hurt. And again, Bohachuk doesn't have it's not a great style to look at. He's very basic. He's just throwing a lot of jabs. He's throwing a lot of right hands. There's not much variety in his punches. He's like a welterweight Joe Joyce to me. He doesn't have great defense. I wouldn't go that far, but just understand if I'm comparing him, high volume, lot of jabs, big right hands, there's not much of a variety there, so I get it. All right, but please let's not try to downplay what he's doing in there. All right. He's showing a lot of heart too, people. When people are trying to convince you that a fighter fought harder, sometimes it's because he's losing and he's trying to get the crowd back and he's trying to get the viewers back in. So when we say a fighter has heart, we're talking about he's fighting a guy that's been knocked out before. Okay. And he's the underdog fighting in a place where he's fighting in front of a big Virgil Ortiz heart. He's a Virgil Ortiz crowd. All right. Let's go into the ninth round. It's another 10. This is a 10-9 round for Bohachuk again. The amount of 1-2s he landed in this round here. I mean, Virgil is cut. He's bleeding from his mouth again. Just on point. His time is on point again. Not the faster fighter. I don't even think he's the better talent. I don't think he's the more athletic fighter, but he's doing it better than Virgil. Virgil is fighting in spurts at this point in the fight. 10-9 for Bohachuk, and I think it's a clear 10-9. I think maybe 2 or 3 of the judges gave it, these rounds, like the rest of the remaining rounds, to Ortiz. I think the ninth round is a Bohachuk round. No matter how many times I watch it, it is what it is. The guy is doing better, in this particular round. 10th round, I gave the Ortiz. I love the jabs. I love the amount of overhand rights that were connecting in this round. He just looks like at this point, and he's changed throughout the fight. There's a lot of infighting he does in certain rounds. There's rounds where he's moving laterally. He's throwing a jab. He's slipping shots and countering. I like Ortiz. He looks smooth. He looked good in this round. The 11th round, I gave the Ortiz again, 10-9. Bohachuk in this round, he looked like he was buzzed from a right hand. I think this was the most hurt he's been. The first 2 minutes I gave to Ortiz. But again, Bohachuk landed hurt. After getting hurt, he still landed some big right hands. And I'm just like, he's still in this fight. And if you listen to the commentary, you would think he's getting dominated. You know what I mean? Like, I even heard someone say that's a 10-8 round for Ortiz because he was just so dominant. And I'm like, no, Bohachuk is still landing. Like, what are we doing, man? This is a weird. The reaction to some people is kind of weird, but I gave the round to Ortiz. I thought he won the 10th. I thought he won the 11th. The 12th round, I gave the Bohachuk. I think Ortiz, again, showed a lot of heart, but Bohachuk was just better. Again, I think he landed like 3 big right hands in a row at some point in this round. Like, they stopped it momentarily because the tape was loose. The ref pulled it off, but then he sent Ortiz to his corner. It just took a lot of the momentum away. But overall, the cleanup punches was by Bohachuk. 2 of the last 4 rounds go to Bohachuk to me. The 9th and the 12th. All right. So the way I scored it after rewatching it twice, 2 more times, I have it 6-6 with the 2 knockdowns. Okay. So my card did change a little bit, but I just don't think Ortiz won the fight. I don't think he won. Was it a great fight? Yes. I think what lost Ortiz in this fight really is just, I think him gassing, kind of took away from some of the rounds. Just him not, just fighting in spurts, having moments in each round. Just like I said on the night of the fight, having great moments and showing heart and fighting angry at times, fighting out of desperation at times. I still don't think it was enough to win. And the 2 knockdowns caused them to lose this fight. If this was the other way around, no one would be saying Bohachuk won. No one. No one would be saying that. There's no way that Bohachuk would have gotten the scorecards that the judges gave him if it was the other way around. No one would have a problem with Ortiz winning, Or Bohachuk was just better, surprisingly. He was surprisingly better. You know, and after watching him, it's not like I don't like his style. Like I don't really particularly enjoy watching him fight. And that's how I feel about Joe Joyce. But when someone's effective, there's no denying it. Your timing is on point. Your timing is just better. Ortiz, I think, is capable of more. But I think Ortiz, outside of just pacing overall and just fighting in spurts, and at times just looking for a knockout, to me, I think the commentary had a lot of influence on our viewers. Because when I read the comments that I've been reading and I hear the things that I'm hearing, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know where you're getting them. You know, I listened to the commentary this morning and it was awful. I mean, this guy wasn't giving Bohachuk any credit from what he was landing. He was only acknowledging Virgil Ortiz throughout the entire fight. And I get it. He's a star. Turkey wants the Crawford fight. Golden Boy wants Zoo or the win of Spence and, you know, Fedor. I get it. Like, these are big fights. Like, I would rather see Ortiz fight all three of those guys, you know, but we got to be fair. And I just don't think with the 2 knockdowns, giving Virgil Ortiz 8 rounds, at least 8 rounds to win is a bit obsessive. Like, it's excessive. It's just too much. You know, for a guy that was fighting in spurts, I think it's too much. All right. I know people are going to bring up CompuBox. CompuBox doesn't tell the full story. All right. It just does. It never did. It never did. We use it as a tool to get an idea of where, you know, what punches are thrown, the amount of punches that are landed, but it doesn't tell the full story. You have to watch the fight. You got to look at key punches. You know, you got to momentum, you know, ring generalship, like effective punching, you know, who was more affected, who looked, you know, like who was affected more, not what punches sounded louder, especially when they were hitting gloves. We got to watch the fight, you know, and if we're going to go back and rewatch fights like the way I did, yeah, slow it down, rewind it, you know. Live fighting, again, is still very different than watching it. And then the whole not scoring 10-8 rounds is ridiculous. Bohachuk won the fight to me, and I just think, you know, just giving Ortiz 8 rounds, how? Like, how? You know, and I'm now, when you rewatch a fight, you're like, and it's so much content. Now I'm watching it in a way where I'm like, I'm trying to see where everybody is coming from. And look, I'm not saying that people that picked Ortiz don't know boxing. I'm not doing that. There's people that I respect that think Ortiz did enough, you know, or thought that it was a draw outside of the knockdowns. Like, I paid attention to people, you know. Some people I think are idiots, and some people I respect, you know, and some people I think this is just being biased. So I'm not going there with it. But what I will say is that 8 rounds is a little too much, you know, no matter how badly I wanted it, or some of you may want it. Moving forward, I think the right thing to do is to have a rematch, but that's not going to happen. I would like the Crawford fight. You know, I like unification. I don't believe that Golden Boy wants a Crawford fight. I think they would rather try to get the fight with the winner of Tim Tszyu and Bakram, or the winner of the other guy, Fedor and Spence. Especially if Spence were to win. Big Texas fight. I made this point in the 154 division breakdown that I did recently. There's still a lot of time to have big Texas fights with Spence and of Jamel Charlo if he comes back soon. Those are big Texas fights. All right. But I would like to prioritize unifications, and that's the way, you know, those fights would be unifications. Well, it wouldn't be, because a WBC fight. This is a WBC interim fight. And there's another thing. I've seen a few people, and I'm going to end this with this. Listen, some people like to, you know, they want to deflect a little bit. I know Crawford and Majamal was a competitive fight. There was no robbery in that fight. All right, I understand that it was more competitive than most of Crawford's fights. Definitely one of his toughest fights in his career. But once we start bringing up that fight, to make it seem as if we got a robbery that last week, so we're getting a robbery this week, and it's okay. Like, there are people that bring up that point. Nah. Deflection is, it's deflect and bring up a whole bunch of different fighters, I mean, of course, Floyd's name found a way, I've seen Floyd's name a couple of times. Again, it's the same arguments. The usual suspects, Floyd, Tank, who else they brought up? Crawford. Again, this is Bohachuk, a Ukrainian against Virgil Ortiz, Mexican American. All right, let's stop this. It's getting ridiculous now. The level of deflection is ridiculous, man. You know, Bohachuk and Madrimov, let them fight next. Let them fight next. I would like to see that because they're not going to get a rematch with either. So let them fight next. I think Bohachuk is extremely underrated because his style is not pretty, like I said, but it's very effective. So I won't be sleeping on him again. All right. Madrimov, very good fighter, gave Crawford a tough fight. That would be a good fight between Bohachuk and Madrimov. But I see the deflection. I am aware I see it, And when I see that, it makes me know, like, okay, the criticisms are, it's rubbing you off. You feel a little uncomfortable, but I see it. All right. People are going to be biased. And I do believe that there are cults out there. There are people that love the boxers, people that don't really love the sport like that. But when you start changing the rules and you start deflecting, that's when we come and start having these issues. Again, not everyone, because I do respect a lot of the opinions that I've heard, or at least the people that gave me the opinions, even though we disagreed. But I don't know. I see what's going on. All right. All right. I'm out of here. Y'all have a good day. And we'll move on. I got to still do a video on Leo and Lopez and a few more videos for some upcoming fights. I'll see you guys soon.